Do you enjoy a good mystery? Do you like Agatha Christie books? Have you ever snuggled up and just watched a big binge fest of Murder, She Wrote? If you've answered yes to any of those questions, then you just might love the book I'm about to recommend. Hey y'all, it's me, Miss Thomas at Book Talks with Miss Thomas. I think it's okay to imitate Kevvie if I'm going to tell you about a really good book that she recommended. So this book talk is for you, Kevvie. If you have never watched, say, Kevvie's videos, go check her channel out. I'll link it below. But she had said in one of her videos that I believe her all-time favorite book, if not, then definitely one of her all-time favorite books was and is The Circular Staircase by Mary Roberts Reinhardt. So I had to go and check it out, and I read it and I loved it. And it was funny, as I was reading it, I was picturing Murder, She Wrote, or like an Agatha Christie book. So I definitely think if you like one or two of those things, this is the book for you. I love the old timiness of this book too. And I love the old front cover. And as I was reading it, the language is very old-fashioned. So I looked to see what year it was written, and I definitely want to share with you some of the things in the book because the book itself is a treasure. It's just so beautiful. It's a library book, and I'm willing to bet it's worth some money, and I'm loath to return it because it's so lovely and beautiful, but it's not mine. Still, let me show you the book. It's an old hardback with this beautiful cover. And look at the back. Do you remember this? Do you remember when they would stamp the back with the boom, boom, boom thingy? I'm sure that's what it's called, the boom, boom, boom thingy. And then in the front of the book, there's a picture from page 163 or something. Let me see. It's from, 167. I was close. And so you spend the book trying to figure out, who these people are. And when they show up in the book, I kept making predictions about them. But as I was reading the book, I was just so entranced with the beauty of the actual physical text that I looked to see the copyright. And the copyright is 1908. And another thing I really loved was all of these chapters. The chapters don't really give anything away, and they're Roman numerals. So I just thought that was so pretty, just in and of itself. I know I should tell you about the book. Kevvie's probably like, get to the book. Tell him about how good the book is. But the book itself was just so beautiful. I could do a whole video on how lovely the book is. And it is old, you can tell from the binding. I was really just pleased to have such an old piece of art to read. I forgot, how lovely just the art of a book could be. And then at the end of the book, I thought this was really cool. I want to share this with you, especially because I was thinking of Murder, She Wrote throughout the book. And at the very end of the book, there's a list of recommendations. It says there's more to follow, and it tells you about other books you might be interested in. And it says, look on the other side of the wrapper. In case the wrapper is lost, write to the publisher for a complete catalog. So isn't that just adorable and so old-fashioned? But I wanted to tell you, the first list was by a detective, the detective series by J.S. Fletcher. I wonder if Murder, She Wrote is a nod to that. J.S. Fletcher. I did not know there was a book series about a detective named J.S. Fletcher, but I'm definitely intrigued, and I'm thinking it's probably relevant to Murder, She Wrote, so I just might check that out. So let me show you the pretty page. And some of the books are like The Secret of the Barbican, The Annexation Society, The Wolves and the Lamb, Green Ink. So I just thought that was so cool. And then I'll share you the other ones. I'll show you the other ones. Raphael Sabatini's novels. The Lion's Skin, The Shame of Motley, The Trampling of the Lilies. And then Emerson Hughes novels. George Ogden's Western novels. Charles Alden Seltzer's Western novels. This, by the way, was not a Western novel, so I'm not sure. I mean, I guess it's just a reflection of the time. 1910, can you believe that? The novels of Temple Bailey, The Tin Soldier, Mistress Anne, Margaret Pedler's novels, Tomorrow's Tangle, Red Ashes, The Barbarian Lover, and Jean Stratton Porter's novels. Stories of Rare Charm by Jean Stratton Porter, The Keeper of the Bees, The White Flag, Her Father's Daughter, to name just the first three. Peter Kyne's novels, Money to Burn, The Enchanted Hill. I just thought this was the coolest thing. I could go on and on. I don't know if I should or shouldn't, because I really just wanted to do a book review. I'm doing a little bit of a series. It's a 3-part series, and this one is the book that was recommended by Kevvie. So I just love Kevvie. Kevvie has all this energy and is just really engaging in her videos. And she recommended The Circular Staircase. And as I was reading it, I was picturing Kevvie with the board she has behind her in her videos of all these Post-it notes and the strings, I think. I don't know if there are strings. I think there are strings on her board. But it's like that. You're just trying to figure out throughout the book, who can you trust and who's responsible for what? And it's just a lovely book. Okay. So the story is narrated by an old spinster named Rachel, Miss Rachel, and she goes to a summer home with her servant who's like her friend. They bicker, but it's a woman that she's hired to work for her named Liddy. So Rachel the spinster and her servant Liddy, like a maid, I guess, go to this summer house for a vacation and a rest that they've rented. And her niece, Gertrude, and nephew, Halsey, are supposed to meet her there. And they're going to have this vacation for the summer. And the night they get there, the niece and nephew haven't arrived yet. And Liddy is just a nervous wreck because there's rumors that the house is haunted, and the serving staff that came with the house have all left because they're afraid that the house is haunted. And then in the middle of the night, they hear strange noises. And so they're worried, well, maybe there really is a ghost. But then there is a man murdered at the bottom of the circular staircase of this house. Now, let me show you. There's a map of the house. It's one of these old-fashioned, well, this is a picture, like I said, from the staircase. But there's this map of the house. And so it looks like down the middle of the house is sort of like a breezeway-ish. And then there's all these different rooms, and the different rooms have like potential for hidden places, all kinds of hiding places in this old house. And so this man is killed her first night there. He's shot, and she finds her nephew Halsey's gun somewhere outside in the garden. And she knows he wouldn't kill somebody, but she's worried about him because he's her nephew and she has, largely raised him. So she hides his gun and keeps that a secret from the police. And then various things in the plot, of course, unfold. And all sorts of interesting characters show up in the story. And I loved Rachel's bickering with her maid, Liddy. And I loved the niece and the nephew, of course, Gertrude and Halsey. And, there's a real there's a lot of pressure for Miss Rachel to move out of the house. They want her to leave the house, and the owners want to come back into the house, even though they've rented it for the whole summer. And she refuses to leave because someone was killed in that house, and she wants to make sure that her nephew is not implicated. And she's just trying to protect her niece and her nephew. But also, she wants to solve the case, and that's what made me think of Murder, She Wrote, kind of like old J.D. Fletcher in the Murder, She Wrote TV shows. I picture like this older woman, although I think she's only in her 40s. I don't picture her quite as old as the woman in Murder, She Wrote. Can I just tell you, my sister-in-law loves Murder, She Wrote, and her husband calls it Bran Muffin She Wrote. Bran Muffin She Wrote. It's the TV show for old ladies, Well, I guess I'm an old lady too because I love it. But I do picture, J.D. Fletcher as Rachel narrates this story. And she's determined to solve the mystery, and she doesn't want to leave the house. And she's very concerned about, her niece and her nephew. I don't think she's especially afraid in the house, but she doesn't want them to get, wrongfully charged with the murder or to get implicated somehow in the murder. So there's some pressure on her to move out, and she refuses. And the other thing I really liked about the book is that the police officer, he's like, I don't think that's what they call him in the book, but I don't know if it's constable. I can't remember what they call him, but he doesn't, he wants credit for solving the crime, but he kind of involves her, very much like in Murder, She Wrote, right? The police officer trusts her and includes her in some of the investigation, and they sort of work together, but then not really, because he's going to want the credit in the end, of course. And this book is, written in 1910, so there is that undertone of a woman trying to assert her rights and her value, and I love that about the book, and I would imagine that might be part of the appeal for Kevvie. But I definitely recommend this book. If if you love Agatha Christie and you've read all of Agatha Christie's books, this is very much in the same vein. So, maybe you could try, what is Mary Roberts Reinhardt, if you've read all the Christies and you need something new. I highly recommend The Circular Staircase, and I definitely want to thank you, Kevvie, for recommending it.